So if you didn't see my last video with my Lush haul, I'm enjoying, it smells so good, my comforter bubble bar. And in my Lush video, I somehow, I sniffed something and I got a bit on my nose and elsewhere on my face and didn't notice because I'm nearsighted. So even though I can see my camera, I did not notice. The camera is small. So I filmed the rest of the video. And then I filmed another video, which is this video, which you're enjoying now, my book haul. Didn't know I had something on my face, so I apologize. I did use a filter to try to make it a little bit less gruesome for people like me who just can't stand that the person doesn't wipe their face the whole rest of the video, but thought I'd catch you right now while I'm enjoying this comforter bath bomb and obviously looking perfect with nothing on my face. So enjoy. Hi there, and welcome back to the Chaotic Sober, where we choose creativity over perfection and enjoy the process. I just finished making a giant video about my Lush haul, which you can find somewhere here. And so I had promised that I was going to share my reading list right now, the books that I've got on the go and got by my bedside table, planning to read next. But my video was so long, I was like, I think I'll separate that out because it is separate content anyway. So without further ado, the books I recently read and am reading and am about to read next. So just to set the scene here, I recently, like in the summer, started a new job. I was trying to be a maker pretty much full-time before that. I had a part-time job, but I was really focused on my small company with my friend. Market season this summer was kind of disappointing. I felt like I wasn't organized enough and up to all the tasks, and I just need to, go back in and then come out again later when I'm maybe more prepared. So there's a lot to unpack there, but I ended up getting a job which is kind of part-time to full-time-ish. I'm on call and work a lot of weird shifts. I'm working a lot more than I was before, but it's good because now I get paychecks. One thing I discovered about having a job, which was a hidden great thing that I hadn't considered at all, was reading. Reading was something I struggled with for years. I grew up reading. I loved to read, and I hid in books and those worlds, and when times were tough, you would find me reading and rereading a favorite and just living there instead of dealing with the world around me. So books were my safe place. Even going through my really rough divorce, books were my safe place. That was what I did. I went to my books and I read. And then somewhere along the way on that journey, my brain broke and I couldn't read at all anymore, and I couldn't focus on anything. I had trouble paying attention when people talked. Even watching TV, my attention would wander. And I mean, everybody's attention's more fragmented than it used to be, because you turn on a Netflix show and then you gotta restart it because you realize you're still looking at like your email or Facebook, or like just picking up your phone and checking and rechecking nothing. Like open the same app 5 times, even though there's nothing, because just compulsively. So yeah, so I started to have those kind of things. So I wasn't reading anymore. I couldn't slog through an article, and I couldn't cope with a lot of things. I was easily triggered. I was having, it was a bunch of stuff, and I had some healing to do. And I think I did a lot of that work especially the past, I'd say 3 to 5 years. I'm really proud of me. And all along the way, I noticed, like, you think, oh, this, like, I see this change. So that's the milestone. Like, that's it. I did it. I'm healed. And then something else happens. And then I think you don't realize how deep the rabbit hole is that you've fallen down until you're coming up and you're noticing all these things that you didn't even know were wrong with you. So one of the things for me was I hadn't read a great big book fully and just enjoyed it. and been able to sit still enough or anything in a long time, because it was always guilt or distractions or my ex's voice in my head coming in and seeing the house not completely spotless and me curl up reading a book, and he would just go, unbelievable. And I would hear it in my head. If I read, I'd hear unbelievable, and I'd stop, But now I go to work, and then you get a 15-minute break or a half-hour lunch break or whatever, and I'm, instead of socializing, which I already do plenty of, thanks, I need a little quiet time. I need to go take a break, get off my feet, rehydrate, eat my snack, and I curl up and I read a book. So I realized that on my last assignment, which was like 7 weeks of 4 a.m. starts, I would have 2 breaks during my work day, night, whatever you want to call it. And during those breaks, between the jigs and reels, I'd managed, before I even realized it, to read a whole book. So this is the book I read. This is the first time I've read a book all the way through. There have been a few every now and then, not so much novels anymore, more like self-help books or spiritual books like The Power of Now or something like that, and I say, this is it, I'm better. And then I pile up books and I don't read another one for ages. This book had been sitting around and I said, well, I think I'll take it to work and give it a chance. I know I was interested in it. I ordered it because I ordered it because I saw The Age of Adeline, the movie, because I was curious about that. And I was a little disappointed. And then I started looking it up and I heard about this book, which was a better treatment of the same kind of theme. So I said, intrigued, going to get it. Got it, put it aside, hadn't read it, finally read it, and it was good, and I enjoyed it. So this is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and you can get it probably on Amazon. You can get it at Chapters. You can get it wherever books are sold probably, and I don't know if there's a paperback. It might not have been available when I grabbed this. I do like hardcovers, although they take up more space, but I love the feel of a nice hardcover, and I feel like I own something when I've got one. Having said that, it may end up in my little free library at some point, because I still need to slim down a lot on the trash and treasures scattered through this tiny house. But yeah, it was a good read about a lady who is doomed to live forever, but be forgettable. Let's put it like that. I don't want to ruin it for you if you are going to read it. But it was good. I enjoyed it. It took a while to get going, and when you're reading in little breaks and you're on page 75 and it hasn't really picked up no momentum yet, that's a little frustrating. But I kept at it because, of course, there was always another break and I always needed something to do. And man, by page whatever, it finally started moving when the other main character kind of came into it, and I was hooked. And I really wanted to know the relationship between the characters and what was going on and what was going to happen. So good little book. Don't know anything about V.E. Schwab. Just a book I actually read. So then I was like, okay, well, I think I got sick and I was home for a couple of days and I couldn't resist and I finished it. So now I need a new book at work, because I actually did. I went home and I sat and I read. Yay me, right? I know it sounds like a nothing thing, but if you're in recovery from, I don't know, whatever, having adult onset ADHD or suffering from chronic post-traumatic stress, or I'm not going to diagnose myself too much, but I mean, if you're healing and you found you haven't been able to read for a while, to finally have that breakthrough where you're laying in your bed reading the last 100 pages of your novel and not watching Netflix, and actually calmly just enjoying that and not anxious that you need to be clicking on something or doing something else. It was good. It felt like a balm to my scattered brain. So I would recommend this one. Then I was looking for my next great read, and I actually looked again on my own bookshelf. This one I'd ordered fairly recently, so I hadn't forgotten really that I wanted to read it. But this one I picked up in the store like ages ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely read that. And I piled it somewhere with the piles and piles of books, because even when I didn't read books, I still loved buying books. I love books and I love bookstores. Anyhow, so this book, The Starless Sea by Erin, I'm going to butcher her last name, or his, I think it's a her, Morgenstern. This book, The Starless Sea, was sitting around forever. I read this stuff and I read inside, you know, the description, and I was like, yes, please, and brought it home. And this has probably been sitting around my house. I'm going to say like 2 to 3, maybe the whole time I've been in this house, for quite a while. And you can see I'm about halfway through it. And again, it took a little while to get started, and on those short breaks, it's like, kind of want them to start right in the middle of the excitement, but again, kept at it, and now I'm done that placement, so next week I'm off, so I think this bookmark may move from here to the back, huh? While I'm off work. It's a good one. So I in anticipation of this either getting finished at home or on my next work assignment, I was looking for what I would read next. I found out that this author had also written a book called The Night Circus. I ordered it on Indigo and had it come. So one of the next books I'm going to read is The Night Circus. I posted on my personal Instagram that I had this book in my to read pile, and a bunch of my friends said, oh my god, my favorite book I ever read, it, loved it, great pick, like all that kind of like and different like diverse people that I knew from different areas of my life that I didn't know if they would have anything in common, and they all really like this book, so I'm looking forward to this one. It sounds like it's a good one. Don't know too much about it. I know there's 2 people who are in a circus and they fall in love or something, and if it's like the Starless Sea, I mean, there's going to be whole other unseen worlds and layers of intrigue and stuff, so just kind of weird and offbeat. Yeah. It's making me think of another book that I'm going to have to put some like top 10 book recommendations or something. Huh? Should we start having a book feed, like a book playlist? Are you guys interested in this stuff, or is it just me? Anyhow, for now, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and looking forward to reading that. The other book that I'm planning to read, okay, so I have a little bit of, I like art. I draw, and I'm a big, I have a lot of appreciation for art, and I like a lot of weird things, anime and comics and different, all, you know, wide-ranging styles and things of art. So I follow a lot of people on Instagram, and I follow things about different films and stuff like that. Some of them I've seen, and some of them I really don't know that much about. I just think, wow, that looks cool. So the guy with the eye in his hand, wow, that looks cool. And I hadn't really watched too much Guillermo del Toro, or any, maybe. I'm not even sure if they're in English. Are they only in Spanish? Are they in Spanish with subtitles? Or is it a film in English? Pan's Labyrinth. I know that's a pretty popular film. I'd never seen it, but I knew of it because it's kind of in the milieu of other things that are in the milieu of things. It's things I like adjacent, I would say. Anyhow, I recently because I was looking at some of the artwork, or it was his birthday or something, and it was on Cinema Shorthand or somewhere, and I was reading about him. And I did not, I mean, I should have known that he was Spanish. But I hadn't really ever, you know, made these connections because he's not a person I'd really thought about before. But the being Spanish and the being maybe Basque or like Northern Spanish, being interested in that time period, like in the 1930s when Franco was coming to power, and of course there was civil war in Spain, you know, and I'm really interested in that time period, like Picasso, like that sort of that world, and some of the other things I've read, like is it The Sun Also Rises? Is that Hemingway? Anyhow, yeah, so I'm being super, super vague. Anyhow, I found out that Pan's Labyrinth is actually set in Spain and has to do with this time period, which I did not know, which then suddenly made me really interested in it. And then I also found out that Cornelia Funke, is that how you say it? I hope I'm not saying it wrong, but she's a juvenile literature author who writes a lot of really cool books. And again, I'm not sure if I've read any, but I discovered that she'd recently done a treatment sort of collaborating with Del Toro, and it was a treatment of Pan's Labyrinth, so in English, as an adventure book. So that spoke to my childish little forever 12-year-old heart. And I was like, I really want to read that book. So I picked it up. It's called Pan's Labyrinth. Wow, surprise, surprise. And I'm really looking forward to reading this. And it also has, and to my delight, the pages are sort of lined with black and white illustrations, like Arthur Rackham book. Like, it reminds me of like Edgar Allan Poe or something. I mean, every page has these, you know, this sort of spooky, and I think there are some illustrations in here too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to sort of spending some time in this world. So those are the books that I'm reading right now. Yeah, what are you reading right now? What do you recommend that I read next? Should I watch Pan's Labyrinth? Is it in English? Will I find it anywhere? There's movies I haven't seen that I just can't find anywhere, and I should have seen it at the time because it's very my era, you know. And then I realized, wow, why have I never seen, I don't know, example. Well, the example that I'm thinking of is Weekend at Bernie's, I think it's called. I have not seen it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Anyhow, so if you know where to find that, if it's free, or if I can buy it without getting a new streaming service, put me a comment, because I want to watch that too. It's on my list. There's always lots of things on my list. Yeah, anyhow, thanks for hanging out with me, and see you soon. Keep choosing creativity over perfection and enjoying the process, especially if you have time and you can afford it. But if you can't, you know, then you just need to be even more creative. So important. Try to choose creativity. Okay, bye. Take care.